So when I'm card counting, I'm playing perfect basic strategy, keeping accurate track of the running count, converting that running count into a true count based on the number of decks remaining, and then sizing my bet proportionally based on the true count. What makes blackjack different from all the other games is that it's based on dependent events, which means that the past actually affects the probability of what's going to happen next. Now, the card counting system that I recommend is called the high-low count system. We have the high cards, 10, Jack, Queen, King, and Ace, and these are good for the player. But they have a count value of -1 each because as high cards are depleted from the game, player advantage goes down. The next group of cards is the low cards, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and these cards are good for the dealer. So naturally, these are going to each have a count value of +1, because as these low cards are depleted, that means there's fewer of them that can hurt you in future play. And the third and final group of cards is the neutral cards, 7, 8, and 9, and these cards don't have a count value at all because they don't favor the house or the player. If we were to look at these three cards, the count of these is -1 because we have 2 high cards and 1 low card. For these three cards, they have a count of +2. So we have 2 low cards which each have a count value +1, and the neutral card has no count value. Now, what most people would do once they learn the high-low count values is to adjust the count one by one. So for example, they would think -1, +1, -1, +1, -1, -1, -1, +1. And so the net of all that work would be -2. So that required adjusting the count 8 times. But if you use a technique called meaningful pairs, you're going to reduce your workload and improve your speed dramatically. So looking at this first hand, we have a cancel, high-low, another high-low combination, another cancel, so no work required. Here we're going to have 2 high cards, so we're going to go -2, and once again another cancel. And a neutral card doesn't mean anything with regard to the count. So using the pairs, we only had to adjust the count 1 time. Now once the hands are actually played out and players are hitting and doubling down, we will count them one at a time. So we're at -2, we take a hit, that brings us to -1, another hit, -2, -3, back to -2, and we end the round at -3. So the running count is very important. There's one more step. You need to convert that running count into what we call the true count. So this right here is about 1 deck of cards. The true count is simply the running count divided by the number of decks remaining, rounded to the nearest half deck. So for example, if you have a running count of +9 and there's 4.5 decks remaining, well, 9 over 4.5 gives you a true count of +2. And as true count increases, player advantage increases. So the general idea is to bet little or nothing when you don't have the advantage, and then bet proportionally more as your advantage increases. So as far as how we would size our bets, we would bet true count -1 betting units. So for example, if you had to have a betting unit of $25 and the true count is +2, well, 2 minus 1 is 1, so you should bet $25. So let's say the running count is +20. As you can see, we have 1 deck that has come out, meaning that there's 5 decks remaining. So that gives us a true count of 20 divided by 5 decks remaining. True count of +4. We're going to subtract 1 to get the optimal bet of 3 units. And let's use a betting unit of $100. So running count of 20. So we're going to play this out. Now we have to play basic strategy as we're keeping track of the count. Now the count has moved down a bit to +17. So we have a +17 count divided by about 4.5 decks remaining. So we're still at about a true count of +4, so we can keep the same bet. running count has increased to 23. So 23 with 4 decks remaining about gives us a true count of +6. So how much should we bet? Well, 5 units. So now you get a sense of everything that you have to do. You have to play perfect basic strategy, keep track of the running count, convert that into the proper true count based on the decks remaining, and then hopefully have enough leeway to be able to interact with other players and pay attention to what's going on.